At first glance, the strange, twin-tailed fighter looked like an oversized reconnaissance plane, slow, awkward, and hardly a threat. Japanese pilots smirked as they closed in, expecting an easy kill. But within minutes, entire formations of the once invincible Mitsubishi A6M0 were tumbling into the sea, their reign of dominance broken. This machine was no experiment. It was the Lockheed P-38 Lightning, a predator built for speed, altitude, and raw firepower that would redefine aerial combat and forever change the course of the war in the Pacific. When war erupted across the Pacific, one symbol dominated the skies: the Mitsubishi A6M0. Sleek, light, and impossibly maneuverable, it was a terror made of steel. Unleashed at Pearl Harbor, the Zero shocked Allied pilots with its superior climb rate and logic-defying turning radius. In the Philippines, Burma, and the Dutch East Indies, Zero formations cut through defenders with surgical precision. Allied pilots in P-40 Warhawks and Brewster Buffaloes learned a deadly truth: to turn with a Zero was to die. This dominance was no accident. Japan's naval doctrine was rooted in Kantai Kessen, the decisive fleet battle, and its aviators were molded into craftsmen of destruction through brutal training. By late 1941, they were among the most skilled pilots in the world. The Zero appeared untouchable, and Allied planners wondered if anything could stop it. In the wake of devastating early losses, desperation became the mother of invention in the United States. At Lockheed's Burbank plant, a young engineer named Clarence Kelly Johnson envisioned a radical departure from traditional fighter design. He created a machine built not for nimble turning duels, but for speed, altitude, and concentrated firepower: the P-38 Lightning. Its design was revolutionary. Twin engines, two Allison V1710 engines with turbo superchargers, gave the P-38 over 2,000 combined horsepower, allowing it to exceed 400 miles per hour and climb to over 40,000 feet altitudes no Zero could reach. Concentrated armament. Instead of wing-mounted guns, its arsenal of 4 50 caliber machine guns and a 20mm cannon was clustered in the nose, creating a devastatingly precise stream of fire. Vertical fighting. The P-38 was designed to fight vertically. Pilots were taught to dive from above, strike with overwhelming speed, and climb back to safety before the enemy could react. When the first P-38s arrived in the Pacific in late 1942, they brought with them a new philosophy of aerial combat. Instructors drilled a single command into every pilot: never turn with a Zero. Altitude became life insurance, and speed became survival. The boom and zoom method, once theory, became gospel. The P-38's heavy frame was a disadvantage in a slow-turning dogfight, but in a high-speed dive, it was unmatched. Zeros that tried to pursue risked structural collapse. This tactical shift rendered the Zero's primary advantage obsolete. The sky was no longer a flat arena for duels. It was a three-dimensional chessboard where the P-38 dictated every move. This new doctrine was personified by aces like Richard Bong, America's top ace with 40 victories, and Thomas Maguire, who demonstrated that patience, discipline, and vertical tactics were the keys to defeating the once unbeatable Zero. On April 18, 1943, the P-38 Lightning cemented its legendary status. American codebreakers had intercepted the flight itinerary of Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the architect of Pearl Harbor. Eliminating him would deliver a crippling psychological blow to Japan. The mission required a 435-mile flight over open water, far beyond the range of any other Allied fighter. 16 P-38s from the 339th Fighter Squadron flew for hours at wave-top height to avoid detection. At the precise moment, they intercepted Yamamoto's 2 transport bombers and 6 Zero escorts. In a swift, surgical strike, Lieutenant Rex Barber's cannon fire tore into Yamamoto's bomber, sending it crashing into the jungle. The mission was a stunning success, proving the P-38's strategic reach and delivering a devastating blow to Japanese morale. The arrival of the P-38 and its revolutionary tactics had a catastrophic effect on the Japanese naval air arm. Once feared air groups were decimated. The 251st Air Group, for example, ended 1943 with fewer than 10 experienced pilots. The 204th lost 70% of its aviators in just 6 months. Japan's training pipeline could not keep up. New pilots arrived at the front with as little as 100 flight hours, only to be slaughtered by seasoned Allied pilots in superior machines. By late 1943, Japanese commanders admitted the unthinkable. The Zero was no longer supreme. The empire that had once ruled the skies found itself caged and forced onto the defensive. The Zero entered the war as a legend, but by the close of 1943, the P-38 Lightning had stolen its crown.